Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to a world of laughter, learning, and entertainment. Welcome, everyone, to our latest video where we'll be exploring ewiges Feuer, Ursprung der Liebe, BWV 34. O Eternal Fire, O Source of Love, 34, is a church cantata by Johann Sebastian Bach. He composed it in Leipzig for Pentecost Sunday, and it was the basis for a later wedding cantata, BWV, beginning with the same line. Bach led the first performance on 1 June 1727. The librettist of the cantata is unknown. A central contemplative aria for alto, accompanied by 2 flutes and muted strings, is framed by recitatives, while the 2 outer movements are performed by the chorus and a festive Baroque instrumental ensemble of 3 trumpets, timpani, 2 oboes, strings and continuo. The last movement quotes the conclusion of Psalm 128, Peace upon Israel. The themes of eternal fire, love, dwelling together and peace suit both occasions, wedding and Pentecost. Moving on to the next segment, we have history and text. Ursprung der Kirche in Leipzig, where the cantata was first performed. Bach adapted movements 1, 3 and 5 of this cantata for Pentecost Sunday in a later wedding cantata. Formerly it was believed that as was then called was the older work. In Bach's Leipzig, the readings for Pentecost were from the Acts of the Apostles, on the Holy Spirit, and from the Gospel of John, in which Jesus announces the Spirit who will teach, in his farewell discourse. The workload of the composer and his musicians was high for Christmas, Easter and Pentecost, because in Leipzig they were all celebrated for 3 days. The texts are of unknown authorship. The beginning of the text of the wedding cantata could be kept unchanged, because the image of the flames and the spirit of love suit the Pentecostal events as well as a wedding. The author had only to replace the reference to Verinitis par united couple with a reference to the Gospel. Movement 5 quotes the conclusion of Psalm 128, Peace upon Israel. This quote was already part of Movement 4 of the wedding cantata, which quotes in Movement 3 verses from the same psalm. Bach led the first performance on 1 June 1727 in the Nikolaikirche. The Bach scholar Klaus Hoffmann notes that a printed libretto for the congregation was recently found in the Russian National Library in St. Petersburg, containing the texts for the 3 feast days of Pentecost and Trinity of 1727. Until then the work had been dated much later, such as 1746 when a revival took place for which performance material exists. As the music of the 1727 version is lost, the timing of Bach's revisions to the wedding cantata is not known. It is likely that he revised it further in the years because he wrote a new score. In this chapter, we'll be shedding light on structure and scoring and its role in shaping our understanding. Bach structured the cantata in 5 movements, with 2 choral movements framing a sequence of recitative aria recitative. Bach scored the work for 3 vocal soloists, alto, tenor, bass, a 4-part choir and a Baroque instrumental ensemble of 3 trumpets, timpani, 2 flauti traversived, 2 oboes, 2 violins, viola and basso continuo. The Bach scholar Christoph Wolff describes the large-scale instrumental scoring as suited to the festive occasion. In the following table of the movements, the scoring follows the Neubachestab. The continuo, playing throughout, is not shown. With that being said, let's now move on to 1. The opening chorus, O Eternal Fire, O Source of Love, illustrates 2 contrasting subjects, ewiges eternal and Feuer fire. While ewiges appears as long notes, held for more than 1 measure, the flames or tongues of the fire are set in lively figuration from the strings and agile coloraturas from the voices. The instrumental ritornello comprises a sustained trumpet entry, active strings, and flickering oboes, drums, and trumpets. Unlike in most da capo movements, this ritornello appears only at the beginning and end. The basses enter first, holding a top D for most of 5 bars to symbolize the eternal. The other 3 parts are glitter with fiery embellishments, as John Eliot Gardner notes. The middle section develops these themes in minor keys, in dance-like vocal pairings, before the ritornello returns one more time to reprise the first section. Let's zoom in onto and understand its implications. A tenor recitative, Lord, our hearts keep your word of truth fast, adopts an authoritative tone, is in minor mode, and begins with a bass pedal. It expands the concept of God abiding with his people, as outlined in the Gospel. The spotlight now falls on 3 as we delve deeper into its details. An alto aria, It is well for you, you chosen souls, whom God has designated for his dwelling, conveys images of contentment by incorporating a lilting Berceuse-like rhythm, with an obbligato melody played by muted violins and flutes in octaves and tenths. It is accompanied by a tonic pedal in the continuo. The aria is in adapted ternary form. The pastoral character suited the original text, Wol Yuch, It is well for you, you chosen sheep, which alludes to the bridegroom, a pastor or shepherd of souls. Gardner notes the tender sensuousness of the pastoral writing, the pairings of thirds and sixths, the blending of flutes and muted strings, and the satisfying textures and calm enchantment disturbed only momentarily by modulation, and considers that the piece possibly had some deeper personal significance. Get ready for a captivating exploration as we unravel the layers of 4 and their profound significance. The bass recitative, if God chooses the holy dwellings that he inhabits with salvation, is quite similar in character to the tenor recitative. The last 2 measures form an introduction to the closing movement. Moving on to the next segment, we have 5. The closing chorus, Peace upon Israel, opens with a solemn rendering of the song text, marked adagio. The violins and oboes first play an ascending figure. Gardner notes that the section is reminiscent of and equivalent in grandeur to the opening accordion to the B minor Mass. The slow music on the song text is contrasted by a spirited and very secular-sounding march, setting Thank the Exalted Wondrous Hands. Both sections appear first as instrumental and are then repeated by the chorus. Hoffman notes that this music is reminiscent of Bach's works for the Kthon court, composed for Leopold, Prince of Anhalt-Kthon. Gardner concludes, Now, let's redirect our focus towards selected recordings and discover its significance in our narrative. The selection is taken from the listing on the Bach Cantatas website. South. Bach Cantatas BWV 34 and BWV 56 Jonathan Sternberg, Wiener Kammerchor, Wiener Symphonica. Bach Gould Artemis Classics 1950. J. South. Bach Cantatas BWV 187 and BWV 34 Dithard Hellman, Cantori and Kammerorchester at Christuskirch, Mainz. Cantate 1958. Les Grandes Cantates de J. South. Bach Vol. 8 Fritz Werner, Heinrich Heilbronn, Versheim Chamber Orchestra. Rotto 1961. Die Bach Cantate Vol. 36 Helmuth Rilling, Chinga Cantori, Bach Collegium Stuttgart. Hansa 1972. J. South. Bach Das Kantatenwerk Sacred Cantatas Vol. To Nikolaus Harnoncourt, Wiener Singknaben, Chorus Vienensis Chorus Master, Hans Gillisberger, Concertus Musicus Wien. Teldich 1973. Bach Cantatas Vol. 3 Ascension Day, Whitsun, Trinity Karl Richter, Monchena Bachcha, Monchena Bach Orchester. Archive Production 1975. J. South. Bach Cantatas BWV 11 and BWV 30 for Philip Ledger, King's College Choir Cambridge, English Chamber Orchestra. HMV 1981. Bach Cantatas 34, 50, 147 Harry Christophers, the 16. Collins Classics 1990. J. South. Bach, Whitsun Cantatas John Eliot Gardner, Monteverdi Choir, English Baroque Soloists. Archive Production 1999. J. South. Bach, Cantaten Alt. Karl Friedrich Behringer, Winsbacher Nebencher, Deutsche Kammervirtuosen Berlin. Rondo Production 1999. Bach Cantatas Vol. 26, Long Melford John Eliot Gardner, Monteverdi Choir, English Baroque Soloists. Soli Deo Gloria 2000. Bach Edition Vol. 21 Cantatas Vol. 12 Peter Jan Lusink, Holland Boys Choir, Netherlands Bach Collegium. Brilliant Classics 2000. J. South. Bach, Complete Cantatas Ball. 21-ton Koopman, Amsterdam Baroque Orchestra and Choir. Antoine Marchand 2001. J. South. Bach, The Ascension Oratorio and 2 festive cantatas. Greg Funfeld, Bach Choir of Bethlehem, the Bach Festival Orchestra. Dorian Recordings 2001. Flamskens zum Bachfest Leipzig 2005. Bach und die Zukunft Georg Christoph Biller, Philharmoniker, Akademie für Altmusik Berlin, Matthias Rexroth, Martin Petzold, Matthias Weikert, MDR Figaro 2005. Philharmoniker Leipzig Das Kirchenjahr mit Bach, Vol. 7. Pfingsten Pentecost Cantatas BWV 34, 74, 172. Georg Christoph Biller, Philharmoniker, Schwandhausorchester Leipzig. Rondo Production 2007. J. South. Bach, Cantate BMV 34 ewiges Feuer, Ursprung der Liebe Rudolf Lutz, Vocalensemble der Schule Secunda Pratica. Gallus Media 2009. I hope you learned something new today. Let me know what you found most interesting in the comments below.